Hello campers, families, and friends. It's Sarah with VINS Nature Camp, and I want to welcome you back to another week of Campfire Stories. I hope you all had a wonderful summer. Here at VINS Nature Camp we had a great season. Maybe I saw some of you here. And despite everything that was going on, we were still able to continue our campfire traditions every single week. It's one of my favorite times of the week because it gives us a chance to take a pause and reflect on the time we've just shared together. And because we get to chop it all off with a tasty treat. I hope you have your s'more supplies ready. Before cold weather sets in, we really wanted to get in one more week of campfire stories. And so here we are. Which brings me to the first part of this tradition, our reflection. This week, one of my favorite memories was from a hike I took to an outlook near my house. I had a great view of the valley and was able to really appreciate the beauty of this season with all the changing colors of the leaves. How about you? Now it's your turn to share. What was your favorite memory from this week? Go ahead and pause the video and share with those around you. This week's series from VINS, Seasonal Changes, has brought lots of videos about all the things that are going on in nature right now. If you haven't done so already, be sure to go back and check out some of those other videos from this series. And now, time for the story. For this week's story, I've chosen one that discusses a few phenomena going on that you might be able to observe right now in the world around you. It's called The Hunting of the Great Bear, from the Iriquois of the upstate New York. Once there were 4 brothers. No hunters were as good as they. One fall day, an urgent message came from a neighboring village. A great bear, one so large and powerful that many thought it must be some kind of monster, had appeared. The people were afraid. The children no longer went out to play in the wood, and they set guards every night to watch over the village. The 4 brothers agreed to help. As they journeyed to the village, they saw great pine trees with scars from where the bear had reared up on its hind legs and made deep scratches in the bark. The tallest of the brothers tried to touch the highest of the scratch marks. "It is as people feared," he said. "This bear we are to hunt is Nyah-gwaheh, a monster bear. I've always heard from the old people about the magic of the Nyah-gwaheh," said the second brother. "What will we do about that?" "That magic will do no good if we find its track," the first brother replied. "Those creatures can only chase a hunter who has not yet found its trail. When you find the track of the Nyah-gwaheh and begin to trace it, then it must run from you." The brothers finally reached the village. "We have come to help you get rid of the monster bear," they announced. "We will follow his track." "I'm not so sure you can do that," the elder of the village said. "Whenever we try to follow the tracks, they disappear." The third brother knelt down and patted the head of their small hunting dog. "That is because you do not have a dog such as ours. He can follow any tracks, even those many days old." "May protection be with you," said the elder. "Don't worry," said the fourth brother. "Once we are on a trail, we never stop following until we've finished our hunt." And so they set out, guided by their expert tracking dog. The trail was not easy to find. They could see no tracks. They could feel the presence of the Nyah-gwaheh. They knew if they didn't find the trail soon, they would soon become the ones who were hunted. Meanwhile, like a giant shadow, Nyah-gwaheh was moving through the trees, close to the hunters. Soon it would be behind them and on their trail. Finally, at long last, the little dog lifted its head and yelped. "Ahey!" the first brother called. "We have found the trail," shouted the second brother. "We have the track of the Nyah-gwaheh," said the third. "Great bear!" the fourth brother shouted. "We are after you now." And fear filled the great bear for the first time. Its magic was of no use. and Nyah-gwaheh began to run. With loud hunting cries, the brothers gave chase. The bear's strides were long, and it ran more swiftly than a deer. But the 4 hunters and their little dog were swift too, and did not fall far behind. The bear's trail was easy to follow now, for it pushed aside everything in its way, even knocking down big trees. On and on they ran, over hills and through valleys. They came to a mountain and followed the trail higher and higher, every now and then catching a glimpse of the bear just ahead. The day had turned into night, and yet they could still see the giant shape of the great bear ahead of them. They were at the very top of the mountain now, and darkness was all around them. Both bear and hunters were tiring, but the little dog was right behind the great bear, nipping at its tail as it ran. Just as the great bear turned to bite at the little dog, the 4th brother, the fastest of them all, got close enough to the bear with his spear. Nyah-gwaheh, the great bear, fell dead. The brothers built a campfire and cut up the bear. They rested and ate the meat from the big bear and felt refreshed. It was then that the 1st brother looked down at his feet. "Brothers," he exclaimed, "look below us." The 4 hunters looked down. Below them were thousands of small, sparkling lights in the darkness. "We aren't on a mountaintop at all," said the 3rd brother. "We are up in the sky." And it was so. The great bear had indeed been magical. Its magic had taken it high up above the earth as it tried to escape the hunters. However, their determination not to give up the chase had carried the brothers up that strange trail too. Just then, their little dog barked twice. "The great bear!" the 2nd brother shouted. "Look!" The hunters looked. There, where they had piled its bones, the great bear was coming back to life. As they watched it, it began to run again, the small dog close on its heels. "Follow it!" shouted the 1st brother. Grabbing up their spears, the 4 hunters again began to chase the great bear across the sky. And so it is to this day. If you look into the skies, you can still see the bear and the hunters in their never-ending chase. The great bear is the square shape some call the bowl of the Big Dipper. The 4 hunters and their small dog, barely visible, are close behind as the Dipper's handle. When fall comes, the constellation turns upside down. The hunters have killed the bear. Then, as they cut it up for their meal, and the blood falls down from the heavens, the colors of the maple trees turn red. And the fat that drips off the meat when they're cooking it covers the ground with a layer of white in the snow. But then, as the sky moves towards spring, the bear slowly rises back onto its feet, and the chase begins again. So our story speaks about the changes in the leaves that we can see going on around us right now, and that our part of the world, New England, is really known for, but also what's going on in the sky above us. The stars are so amazing, and they're constantly changing throughout the year. Constellations come and go as the world turns. Some constellations, like Orion, we can only see during certain times of the year. For Orion, it's the winter time. And some, like the Big Dipper, or the Great Bear in this story, change places or rotate. There's only one star in the sky that's always in the same spot no matter what time of year it is, and that's the North Star. And all the other stars rotate around it. So I know we're all getting really busy as school has resumed and the cold weather is starting to come around, so we're not spending as much time outdoors. But I hope that you all get a chance to get outside and enjoy this amazing time of year and make some observations about what is going on around you. The weather's perfect for nice hikes, so I hope you get to enjoy it. In the meantime, it's time to roast our s'mores, and I want to thank you for joining us this week.